Welcome back, college football fans, to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, the only channel created by the college football fan for the college football fan, the channel where we examine, discuss, celebrate, and honor all things college football across the entire college football landscape. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks, and I'm with you today with a very, very special episode. At season's beginning, there were 134 FBS Division I teams who had one common goal, one dream, one aspiration, and that was to find themselves either receiving an invite or earning a seat at the 12-team college football playoff field, and then advancing to the national championship to go down in history, hoist the trophy, and claim a national championship. And after this entire season, we are now down to 2 teams remaining after the smoke and the dust has cleared. But like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, 2 teams will enter, but only 1 team will leave. That's right. This is my national championship preview and prediction episode. What a great day to be alive. Not only is the national championship a mere hours away here on this Monday afternoon, January 20th, it is also Inauguration Day in our nation's capital, and it is also the holiday in observance of Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. So what a great day to be an American and to be alive and to be a fan of college football. I mean, this is great. Finally, the climax, everything has reached after this historic season. All right? So, in a little bit here, I'm going to go ahead and break down, and the 2 teams remaining is number 7 seeded in the playoff bracket, Notre Dame, an independent, faces off against number 8, Ohio State, representing the Big Ten Conference. All right, and I am so excited for this matchup, guys. I'm tickled pink. I mean, I've got goose skin here. I mean, even though it's really cold here in the Midwest, here in the Show Me State of Missouri, I'm telling you, my blood is boiling hot. I just cannot wait for kickoff tonight. Now, before I break down this matchup that's going to be occurring later on this evening, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to everything that you've done for the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog channel this past season, for all of you members, for all of your views, for your time, your attention, your comments, which, hey, if this is your first time joining me here on the channel, I always encourage, welcome, and ask for your involvement. So please get involved. Comment below to any of my hot takes, my opinions, or the stats and info that I present during this episode, and I promise I will get back to each and every one of you much sooner than later via those comments. But thank you for making this another smashing season, a huge success here on the channel, because without you, none of this would be possible. It is an absolute pleasure and a real treat for me to be here with you on the weekly, sharing my love and passion for this great sport, for all things college football. So you don't have to be a fan of the black and gold to be welcomed or enjoy the channel. This is a safe haven and a gathering zone for all college football fans. So please, let's continue the momentum, spread the word, tell your fellow college football fanatics, your family members, your coworkers, to check me out here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And please subscribe, like, share, rate, and comment below. Can't wait to hear from you. All right, so I will break down this matchup here very shortly, but before you move forward, sometimes you must move backwards. So I want to go ahead and just summarize quickly the details on this matchup tonight. It will be played down in Hotlanta, inside the Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Dome there in Atlanta. It is a kickoff time is slated for 6:30 Central Time, 7:30 East Coast Time. Currently, Notre Dame is an 8.5-point underdog to Ohio State, even though they are the higher seed when it comes down to this matchup. And the current over-under as of 10 minutes ago was 45.5 via the Brainiacs there in Vegas. So how these teams got here, when you look at their regular seasons and their records, and also who they dispatched during the playoff brackets to get here for a chance to claim the Natty title. Let's start with the lower seed, Notre Dame. They are 14-1 overall on the season. That one loss came very early in the year, week 2, at home against mighty Northern Illinois University out of the MAC. The Huskies shocked the world, and at that point, it put Notre Dame on file that, hey, this Notre Dame team, they're not worthy of a playoff berth, but all they did in response to that is played perfect football. Not only winning every game after that, but absolutely flexing and looking the part like Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger of old. I mean, they have absolutely earned their shot to be here in this position to claim the national championship. So 14-1 overall are the Fighting Irish. Now, in the college football playoff, they defeated number 10 seed Indiana. Then they dispatched number 2 Georgia, the SEC champion. And then in the semifinal round, they were able to take care of number 6 Penn State in an instant classic. What a great game that was. So that is how the Notre Dame Fighting Irish punched their ticket to Atlanta. Now let's look at the Ohio State Buckeyes. They are 13-2 overall. Their 2 losses they had during the regular season. One was about midway through the year, a 1-point loss at Oregon, a game that was back and forth, high drama, a lot of controversy at the end. So a 1-point loss at the number 1 team in the nation, Oregon. And then during rivalry week, they lost to their bitter rival up north, Michigan, at home. A devastating loss at the time for the Ohio State Buckeyes, but obviously they responded well during college football playoff bracket. They defeated number 9 Tennessee in the opening round, and then in a rematch defeated number 1 Oregon in the Rose Bowl, and then in the semifinals, they took care of number 5 Texas, the SEC runner-up, to punch their ticket to Atlanta for the opportunity to claim another national championship. All right? So that is how these teams got here. All right? And this is seriously one of the best matchups we have had in recent college football national championship history. It is. I mean, yes, we've had big brands, big names, big players and coaches, but this is going to be a huge, huge matchup because lately, most of the matchups in the national championship game end up being blowouts. I think this one has the opportunity, the potential to be a very close game, but you'll have to wait and see what I officially think when I make my prediction at the end of this episode. All right. So normally next, guys, I would go into the stats for this game. Hey, the total defense rating for this team is this, that team is that. Hey, rush yards per game is this and that. But I'm not going to do that at this point because we all know that this is good on good, all right? These two teams, this is what you expect, and they've proven that, all right? Especially Notre Dame. I forgot to mention during their run to the national championship game, they are 7-0 against ranked opponents. That is better than anyone in the country, all right? So I know a lot of people are still maybe a little bit non-believers in Notre Dame, but trust me, if that's what you think, they're going to make you a believer tonight. I'm not saying they're going to win. You didn't say the magic word. I love Jurassic Park. You got to wait to see what my prediction is. So hold your horses a little bit, all right? So this is good on good. This is a historical matchup. And what a matchup of just big brands. The power, the notoriety, and the profitability that these two brands bring is really unmatched, all right? And I'm going to break that down right now for you. This is the reason why, if you're a college football fan, but especially a historian like I claim to be, or at least what I think I am. I mean, I just turned 44 years old. I've been a fan since I was 9 years old. But from a historical standpoint, I mean, let's just talk about this matchup between these two heavyweights, these blue bloods. Both of them rank in the top 4 in most wins all time in college football. Ohio State is number 2 on that list, and Notre Dame is number 4. So right there, what a matchup as far as just the historical value of this. Now, between these two teams combined, they either have, share, or claim 19 national titles. That's 11 for Notre Dame and 8 for Ohio State. The Heisman Trophy winners, I mean, just the players who have suited up for these squads throughout history, it's really daunting. It's uber impressive. But between these two football teams, they have 14 Heisman Trophy winners, 7 for Notre Dame, and also 7 for Ohio State. But that's really only 6 players for Ohio State, because Archie Manning won the Heisman Trophy twice, the only individual to do that ever in that prestigious awards history. So 14 Heisman Trophies between these two teams, all right? And then just think of the coaches, all right? Think of the legends, right, who have roamed the sidelines for each of these squads. I mean, for Notre Dame, guys with the last name of Rockne, of Devine, Holtz. I mean, guys who are historic figures for their program, for that program, but also for college football in general. And then on the opposing sideline in history, you've got cats at Ohio State, Hayes, Tressel, Meyer. I mean, once again, I can go on and on why I think this might be the most historical matchup ever, potentially, in college football. And even the current coaches, I mean, the way they are both trending is awesome. I mean, they are both trending in the right direction, with Marcus Freeman for Notre Dame and Ryan Day for Ohio State. I mean, just the historical prominence and what this means is really unrivaled and unmatched. But that's not a big surprise, because you're a college football fan, and all of us have known for a very, very long time that our sport is unrivaled and unmatched by anything else anyway. So there you go. Everything lines up, perfect harmony, right? Now, I mentioned the brands, all right? This is just big brand power. It's basically just jumps off the page. It's lights up. It's like the Hollywood sign out there on the West Coast. I mean, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Notre Dame. I mean, these are the two largest, most recognized, glorified, and profitable regional brands. And by that, I mean here in the Midwest, in the Northeast, and the Mid-Atlantic, the New England states. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than these two names. I think the only team throughout history in that region that can maybe say, hey, we're right there, we're knocking on the door, we're right here also, we could maybe be one of the top 2, that would have to be then, and standby, is the Michigan Wolverines. All right, so this is huge as far as where I grew up and where I currently reside here in Missouri, the Show Me State. But also, not just that, from a regional perspective, and that's the one thing that college football has lost. During all of this conference realignment, the regionality of the game has been forgotten, and I hope someday it does come back. I mean, having, West Coast teams, Cal, right, and Cal and Stanford in the ACC, right? I mean, having USC and UCLA in the Big Ten. Yes, I like it from a matchup perspective, but the regionality is a thing of the past. But not only are these two of the largest brands regionally, hey, I do my own stunts here on the Touchdown Black and Go vlog. I do not do any edits. I don't do any redos, no dress rehearsals, because, hey, that's work And this is a purely hobby for your enjoyment. And please like, share, comment, get involved, subscribe. Can't wait to hear from you. But these are two of the largest, most recognized, glorified, and profitable brands, period, in our sport. It is. I mean, if you talk to anybody in this nation who unfortunately doesn't follow college football, they're going to if this, let's say you're just typical person off the street, well, I'm not really a sport person. I mean, I hear teams' names, I kind of keep up. More than likely, they're going to know of Ohio State and Notre Dame football. It's basically like if you go overseas and you say you're American, right? And let's say it's a baseball fan, more than likely they're going to be able to say, oh yeah, New York Yankees, LA Dodgers, Chicago Cubs. It's that level of where these two brands are in our sport nationwide. I mean, I cannot wait for this game. I know I keep saying that. I'm like a broken record, like that repeat doll. You pull the string, la, la, la. But I just can't wait for it. I can't. All right? So there is nothing not to like about this matchup tonight. Okay? Just not. All right. Now, I am going to share with you, like I have in my previous episodes during the playoffs, my impact players for each team. Also, who I believe the key unit is going to be on each team, what the keys to victory are for that team. And then at the end, when the curtain goes up, I will give you my official prediction to who I believe is going to be standing tall in the confetti, holding and hoisting up the national championship trophy. All right, so let's start with the impact players for Notre Dame. First and foremost, it's going to start with the guy who absolutely has shown up and shown out. All he does is win. He does his job. He doesn't talk trash. He lets his game do the talking. I'm talking about quarterback Riley Leonard. I mean, the guy, he's made that classic phrase of game manager, he's made it look good. He's made it look sexy. Because quite frankly, saying game manager never ever should have been a negative thing. What does that say? It says it's someone who is a good decision maker, who will take exactly what the defense gives, and they will not put their team in a bad position or situation. That's exactly what Riley Leonard does, all right? And I'm telling you, if this gets to be a one-possession game late in the fourth quarter, and this is exactly what I said during the semifinal game against Penn State here on air, that if it comes down to a one-possession game for Notre Dame either to tie or win the game with under 2 minutes to go, and it's in Riley Leonard's hands, it could be what we like to call a grenada, a done deal. So watch out for that potentially. Next, it's got to be running back Jeremiah Love. We know what this Notre Dame team wants to do. Ground and pound, body shots, wear you out. You know, the run game sets up play action, sets up taking some shots downfield. That's how they want to operate, and this guy will run over you, run through you. I mean, the touchdown run he made in the second half against Notre Dame, if you haven't seen it, look it up here on YouTube, Google it. It is very, very impressive, all right? Next for Notre Dame, defensive lineman Howard Cross. I mean, Notre Dame has been down so many individuals the entire year, especially on that defense, but one of the most stout, best tackling, most disciplined defenses in the nation. Howard Cross, he has to win the line of scrimmage. He doesn't necessarily have to live in the backfield, getting to quarterback Will Howard, hitting Quinshon Junkins or Travion Henderson. He at least needs to get knocked off the line of scrimmage, at least win the point of attack, and then try to get in the backfield. I mean, somebody for the Irish has to produce and generate some sort of pressure on the Ohio State backfield. They do, and I think that's going to fall squarely on Howard Cross's shoulders. Let's see if he can rise to the occasion. Next on that defense, defensive back Xavier Watts. The guy's proven why he's one of the best in the nation. First team All-American. He's going to be playing on Sundays very soon at the next level, because we all know the weapons that Ohio State has on their offensive side of the ball, the playmakers they have in the perimeter. Xavier Watts and that entire unit has got to step up and try to just contain the Ohio State wide receivers and their tight ends. Yes, are you going to be able to shut them out? That is going to be impossible, but just try to limit and slow the bleeding. That's what they have to try to do, all right? And my key unit, all right, when I look at this matchup between these two ball teams, I think the Notre Dame defensive backfield, all right? I already mentioned that Notre Dame's defense, one of the best in the nation. Now, this group, that defensive back seven, especially their defensive backfield, might be the best group on that defensive unit, but they need to absolutely show that tonight. They cannot let Jeremiah Smith and Emeka Ibuka run wild. I think they need to do exactly what Michigan did when they defeated this team, is bracket those wide receivers and just try to keep guys around them and make it difficult, all right? So I can't wait to see how that matchup plays out throughout the game with the Ohio State wide receivers against the Notre Dame defensive backfield. Now, my keys to victory. This is how I believe the Fighting Irish can outlast Ohio State and win yet another national championship. My keys to victory for Notre Dame are, first of all, the lines of scrimmage, both the O-line and the D-line. For them to have success, they must own those lines of scrimmage. They are completely happy and comfortable, just taking Ohio State, grabbing them into a phone booth, and just having a good old-fashioned rock fight. That's what they want to establish. That's what they want to do. And I think they have to continue to stick with their DNA to win along the lines of scrimmage. Next, possession time. They absolutely have to possess that ball. Even if they end up doing an 11-play drive that takes up 8 minutes, take your field goal, all right? The last thing that Notre Dame can attempt to do, if they try to get into a scoring match with Ohio State, it's not going to bode well for them, all right? The best way to shut down that vaunted Ohio State offense is to keep them on the sideline. And to do that, possess the ball, limit their possessions, and just use that clock and wear them down. Once again, body blows, cash in, and just tick, 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 tick. Possess that ball, and do what you got to do, all right? And that also goes along with that is sustained drives. They must possess the ball, have long drives, but then make them pay off with some points. And then the last key to victory for the Fighting Irish is the special teams. Last week, or the last time out, I should say 2 weeks ago, field goal kicker came up big in a clutch position, that walk-off field goal, basically, when the entire season they have really struggled at Notre Dame with field goal kicking. You cannot have any flaws in your kicking game, all right? If Notre Dame does that, they're going to be right there with a chance to defeat Ohio State, all right? So now let's move on to the impact players for the Ohio State Buckeyes. First and foremost, I already mentioned and I stressed how important it's going to be for Notre Dame's defensive backfield to step up, and especially Xavier Watts by name. But for Ohio State, you got to start with wide receiver phenom Jeremiah Smith, who might be the best player we've seen throughout the entire college football playoffs. He has been a one-man wrecking crew. Texas did a very good job to keep him quiet. Let's see if two teams can do that in back-to-back games. This guy is electric. He's dynamite. I mean, if he is left open, even a little bit of a crease, he can make you pay down the field. So they have to try to contain Jeremiah Smith, the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So we'll see what he can do in this game. Next is the running backs. All right. And I already mentioned Jeremiah Love for Notre Dame, but Ohio State running back Travion Henderson, down the stretch, he really didn't get the amount of carries that his counterpart, Quinshon Judkins, got in the backfield. But now we're seeing that he's a little bit more rested, a little bit fresher legs, to where he's had big games in the playoffs. And I think he needs to continue to get his yards tonight for Ohio State to claim victory. Next, in the Ohio State defensive backfield, you got to look at young stud defensive back Caleb Downs. I mean, he is going to have to be all over Notre Dame's perimeter players. He's going to have to play lockdown, shutdown, but also there cannot be any breakdowns. All right, and we've seen the Ohio State defense in the backfield. Occasionally there has been a breakdown here or there. Hopefully, for their sake, if that happens, Notre Dame won't cash in and make them pay for it. All right? Excuse me. Next impact player, my last one for Ohio State. I mean, there's a reason why I picked this guy to be a Heisman Trophy finalist. It did not pan out, but here in the playoffs, we have shown exactly why people were thinking that. I'm talking about defensive end Captain Jack Sawyer, the hero from the semifinal victory against Texas with that strip six, taking it back the other way. I mean, this guy, he's big. He's big time. This will be his last game at Ohio State. And also his counterpart at defensive end, JTT. These guys are tough to block. Notre Dame, they must slow these two down, all right? And like I said, people thought I was crazy because I picked Jack Sawyer to be a Heisman Trophy finalist, but I thought he would be able to emulate what we saw Aiden Hutchinson do a couple seasons ago at Michigan, all right? Now, the key unit for Ohio State in this matchup, in my eyes, and please like, share, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think about my insights to this. I can't wait to hear from you. Is the key unit is their for Ohio State, is their D line. All right? If their defensive line, I mentioned JTT and Jack Sawyer, if their defensive line is able to win the point of attack and create pressure, if they're able to consistently get into the backfield and really force Notre Dame to be one-dimensional, it's going to be tough for Notre Dame to come out on top if they are forced to pass, especially when they have to compared to when they want to, all right? So it's all going to start and end along the lines of scrimmage tonight. And that's going to be really the battle to watch inside the battle, is along those lines of scrimmage, all right? So here we go. I'll run on my key. Oh, sorry, it's not my time for my final prediction yet. I almost forgot to give you my keys to victory for Ohio State. Now, those keys to victory for the Ohio State Buckeyes, it's going to be you must have a balanced offense. All right? Now, the Ohio State vertical pass attack is legit. We all know that. But I think for them to really be able to keep Notre Dame at bay and to basically just outscore them, I think they cannot afford to be one-dimensional. They must be able to establish both a rushing attack and a vertical passing attack. And if they're able to do that, to have a little bit of both, I think the odds for them winning highly increase in this matchup. And also, the other thing they need to do is turnovers, all right? Notre Dame has thrived during the playoffs, but really all season in cashing in off of turnovers. Notre Dame leads one of the leaders in the nation in turnover margin. So Ohio State cannot afford to give them extra opportunities on offense. So if their offense is balanced and they don't turn it over, it's going to be tough for Notre Dame to win this game. All right? So those are my keys to victory for Ohio State and my impact players and keys for both teams and the keys units. Let me know what you think about them. So now, drum roll, the entire 2024 college football season comes down to this. My final prediction for this game. Unfortunately, I'll be missing the first half. I'll come clean. I'll be honest because, hey, we're a family here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. And families, as you know, are built on honesty and trust. I will be missing the entire first half. My son does have basketball practice tonight. I am the head coach. I mean, could I call in sick and put it on my assistant coach? Could, but I'm not. Right now we've got a pretty good winning streak going, and I don't want to have any bad juju on the boys, so I'll miss the first half, but I will definitely rewind, catch up before I watch it live. But I think this is going to be a three-quarter game. I think it is going to be throughout. It's going to be, I think, maybe a 2-point possession game at most. I think it's going to be close, highly contested. I think both teams will maybe come out with a little bit of butterflies. I expect a lot of penalties early on, maybe some miscues from both teams. But come the fourth quarter, this is where I believe the winner, the victor, is going to start to just pull away. And I think that victory is going to go to Ohio State. Now, early in the season, preseason, I did pick Oregon to defeat Ohio State in the championship game, so I'm half right, all right? But I just think in the fourth quarter, it's going to be a close game. I just don't think Notre Dame has the horses to be able to outscore Ohio State. It's as simple as that. They're both stout defenses. Ohio State statistically is the best defense in the nation. Notre Dame is right there within the top 10 as well. I think Ohio State has better special teams to boot. I think they're going to play a little bit cleaner. And I just think ultimately they're going to just have too much for Notre Dame to contend with. I think they'll have a couple of additional scores in the fourth quarter. So I think it's going to end up looking worse on the scoreboard than what it really will be. But my final score, I've got Ohio State 33, Notre Dame 17. So Ohio State, with the victory, will claim yet another national championship, and that will make it their 9th in program history. And in the process, the Big Ten will now for 2 seasons claim the national champion. All right, so that's how I see the national championship game playing out tonight. Thank you for your time and attention. I hope you enjoy the game tonight, celebrate it, do not take it for granted. And I'm kind of referring back to what we had initially in the COVID season, to where you never know what could happen, right? So take it all in, enjoy it. Do not take it for granted, all right? This is an absolute blessing that we're able to have this sport in this nation that's with us each and every fall into winter in this nation. There's nothing quite like it, all right? And I hope you've had a great season here in the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Thank you for all you've done and everything you will continue to do. Definitely be looking for me. I probably will be back on either tomorrow evening or first thing Wednesday morning. I will have a reaction and recap to the national championship game. So please click on that notification button so you won't miss my next episode. But I do have a lot of fun episodes coming up during the off season here on the channel. So please subscribe. You don't want to miss them. Get involved. Comment below. Can't wait to hear from you. So until next time, enjoy the rest of your work day, your work week, your school week. Enjoy the Natty title game tonight. And as always, thank you for joining me here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Go Hawks, and I'll talk with you soon. Bye-bye.